The Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by EdgeBoost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. You are listening to your FIFA Club World Cup preview here on the Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. You can follow the Soccer Gambling Podcast on X at SGP Soccer. That's at SGP Soccer. You can follow the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on X at the SGP Network. That's at the SGP Network, and also at Gambling Podcast at Gambling Podcast. Get all your free picks and podcasts for the FIFA Club World Cup, the Stanley Cup, the College Baseball World Series, and the NBA Finals on your SGPN app. Be sure to get it wherever you get your apps. It really is the easiest and most convenient way to get all of our free picks and all of our free pods. If you're looking for bonus content from me via free picks and free pods, then search for Lock Betting on both YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. That's where I'll be uploading my free content. If you're looking for my tracked and transparent spreadsheet plays, then head over to lockbetting.com. That's why I provide a service that's delivered 144, doing myself short there, 144 months in a row of transparent and tracked profit. You can see all the spreadsheets at lockbetting.com. You can sign up at lockbetting.com, and I've made it even easier for you. You can see all the spreadsheets at Instagram. They're posted via screenshots, all the latest ones. You can go through the page and find them. The latest 3 spreadsheets are pinned to the top of the page, and these help to accumulate towards 144 months in a row of tracked and transparent profit. You can see every play there, the type of bets we do, the sports we bet on, and most importantly, how we manage a bankroll. All of these spreadsheets are verified by existing members, and we have been undefeated for 12 years without a single losing month. The Instagram is a hub for everything I do, so head over to @lockbetting, give it a follow. You'll see the spreadsheets, you'll see betting information videos, you'll see free plays, and most importantly, if you have any questions, contact me on the Instagram account. If you don't have Instagram, and I don't blame you if you don't, then you can reach out to me on the X account I've already mentioned, which is at SGP Soccer. That is at SGP Soccer. So let's move on with covering this Club World Cup. I'm going to tell you from the start, this is going to be a challenge, not because I've not researched it and not because I don't know about the clubs competing in it, or not because I don't know why we're having it or the format or anything, and I'm going to get into all of that. It's just because I don't know if they've sold this to all of the clubs. Do the clubs want to be playing in it? Because I remember not long ago, Real Madrid were massively complaining about it and were threatening to play their reserve players. That was something that Carlo Ancelotti said. Now, Real Madrid are a team who are top of the market and probably need this Club World Cup more than any of the other teams to salvage the season. Whether you see this as the beginning of a new season, whether you see this as the end of last season, at the end of the day, Real Madrid did not win the cup. They did not win the league. They did not win the Champions League. It is a massively underwhelming season by their standards. A lot of this will fall on the shoulders of Kylian Mbappe, but Kylian Mbappe did his part. The others didn't. It was a very poor season from Jude Bellingham. It was a very poor season from Vinny Jr., who last year many thought should have won the Ballon d'Or. Not me. I feel that what we've seen this season with Man City was that Rodri and what he contributed towards the team is probably one of the most, if not the most important player in world football. I don't think they can make a case for taking another player out of any other team and having the significant drop-off, as significant as it's been for Man City. Look at the difference. Could you say the same if you took Vinny Jr. out of the Real Madrid lineup? I do not think so. So the Ballon d'Or award was valid. It was deserved by Rodri. I do believe it was a season where it was light on contenders, unlike this year where it could go to Mo Salah, Ousmane Dembele, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal. All would be worthy winners this season. It's been a better season for individuals, but getting back to my point, Real Madrid now suddenly will be absolutely desperate for this competition. Paris Saint-Germain, could they complete the dream season of all dream seasons? They've already had it. They've already won the Champions League. They've already ended that hoodoo which was hanging over them. They got that monkey off their back. But the way they won it, the way that they dominated almost everybody. I just did a Premier League recap and said Arsenal were the team who were closest to going toe-to-toe with them. But for the most sense, after the group stages, where they finished 15th, by the way, once they got their act together, they dominated Man City, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal for periods of the game. We all saw the final against Inter Milan, a 5-0 drubbing, and they've now implemented a style of play where you would argue that it's very, very difficult to compete against Paris Saint-Germain. They're going to be a very, very difficult team to stop because whilst I have been a critic of style of football and making it your be-all and end-all in terms of just playing it blindly against anyone and everyone, that criticism is more so aimed at someone, for example, like an Ange Postecoglou, who had a style of football that worked and was able to dominate teams in the Scottish League with Celtic because you had the best team, you had the best players. And that style of football was catered towards doing that. You're not going to do that at Spurs. Although you had a great first season, if you take away the first 10 games of Ange's start at Tottenham, overall, the points tally added up across 2 seasons. When you're looking at the final 28 games of the last season and the last 38 of this season, Tottenham are firmly a bottom half team. So what is Ange ball and what is that style of play when it leads you into the bottom half of the table? It's set up for players to play high up the pitch. And when you have a player like Mickey van der Ven fit, it allows you to recover the distance. It allows you to take the risks, go higher up the pitch, give yourself a man advantage, and then cover the distance back. But when Mickey van der Ven's not playing, you cannot rely on your young players to be able to do what Mickey van der Ven does. When Mickey van der Ven was a player who was signed specifically for a purpose, that's when style of play becomes a problem. When you're Luis Enrique at Paris Saint-Germain, and you know that you can dominate the Farmers League, and you know that you can dominate 90% of the teams in the Champions League because you have incredible backing and you have incredible personnel, then you can implement a style of football and ask everybody to play. And there's a video that's obviously gone more viral than it did the first time round of Luis Enrique telling Kylian Mbappe how he wanted him to play, how he wanted him to press, how he wanted him to be like the Michael Jordan of his team. And this was obviously information that Kylian Mbappe didn't take on board because Kylian Mbappe had one mind and one foot. He had his mind and one foot out the door and was already a Real Madrid player in his head. And Paris Saint-Germain subsequently did not win the Champions League with Mbappe last season. They ended up losing to Dortmund, which was a very poor loss because PSG should have been in that final against Real Madrid, which would have been Mbappe playing for his old club versus his new club to be, which would have been a great final. Instead, it wasn't. We were robbed 2 years in a row of finals we should have seen. We should have seen Paris versus Real Madrid, and maybe we'll see it here at the Club World Cup. And we should have seen Barcelona versus PSG, which I think would have been far more competitive. But instead, we got a one-sided final this year. And whilst it wasn't a one-sided final last year, because Dortmund had plenty of chances to score the first goal against Real Madrid, ultimately Real Madrid ran out as predictable winners. But style of play works when you have the players to do it. And PSG can play their style of play because they have young players who are all bought in. In Marquinhos, the captain, he's the oldest player in the team. And he's not old, by the way. Marquinhos can play comfortably for another 5 years. He's only 31. But this 31-year-old captain is the oldest player in the team. And their style of play basically relies on just pressing the hell out of you, but having the fullbacks who can provide defensive cover if they are caught out in transition. That's why Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, for me, were the two most important players in the PSG lineup and are the two best fullbacks in the world. Whilst the praise will fall on the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Bradley Barcola and Desiree Doué, and they are incredible players, and Desiree Doué, for me, along with Lamine Yamal, are going to be two of the top 5 best players in the world for many, many years to come. I think Doué's already that good. And it's crazy that you keep someone like Bradley Barcola out of the team. And it's crazy that you go and invest this money in Kvaratskhelia in the January window when you already had these players. But Luis Enrique knew exactly what he wanted to do. He knew the style of play. Everybody bought into it. We didn't have an individual there like Kylian Mbappe. You had a bunch of players that bought into that team philosophy. And the philosophy was very, very simple. We've heard Luis Enrique talking about it and saying to the press that he told his players they're nothing special. The people out there who are special are the doctors and the firemen and the policemen and the people who save lives and do thankless jobs that keep the world moving and moving forward. Playing football is a privilege. Being born with the skill of a footballer is a privilege. You're nothing special, and when you retire from football, you'll very quickly find out how special you aren't. And I can go one of two ways. That can rub your players up the wrong way, or they can completely buy into it and they can check their egos in at the door, make a concerted team effort to come together and be as one for the greater good. And that's exactly what they did. They came together, they bought into exactly what Luis Enrique was selling, and PSG came up with a style of football that made them unstoppable in this year's Champions League. And if they want this, and if they have the energy still in their legs, they're going to be a team who are very difficult to stop. And I think those two are rightfully top of the market when you're looking at a Real Madrid team who are stacked full of world-class players who will desperately want this competition, and a Paris Saint-Germain who just romp the Champions League. They should be top of the market. Real Madrid are the favourites at 4-1. Paris Saint-Germain are joint second favourites with Man City at 5-1. I don't know how you have Man City and Paris Saint-Germain level based on what we saw and based on just the game between those two teams. It's a little bit of a drop down to Bayern now, who at 7-1. You have Chelsea at 10-1, who are an interesting team for me because I think because of the financial rewards that come with this competition, they are really going to be invested in going for this. You have Inter Milan, who are coming off a heavy Champions League loss. Their manager, Simone Inzaghi, is now on his way to Al Hilal. It's 16-1 on Atletico Madrid. It's 25-1 on Dortmund, who finished the season as the in-form team in Europe. It's 33-1 on Juve. And then finally, we get our first team who are not in Europe, which is Flamengo at 40-1, Benfica at 50-1, Palmeiras at 50-1, Porto at 50-1, and everyone else is bigger than 66-1. So there's a lot of European bias here. There's a firm belief that the European teams will come here, they will dominate this Club World Cup, and we'll see a lot of European teams in the late stages. And that's probably going to be the case, but there are factors to consider here, such as motivation and the weather conditions as well. These European players are coming to the US to play these games in the US, where things are considerably hotter, and that would be an advantage to the players who already play in America and other continents that are far hotter than Europe. So there are a lot of things to factor in, but I would say that motivation would be the key one. So we're going to be looking through these teams individually, and we're going to do it by going through each group. Before we go through the groups, let me take this quick pause to tell you guys that EdgeBoost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. You can sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. And this is your last week to sign up and get this, the t-shirt that I'm wearing here in the studio, a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. And if you want it, I'm wearing it right. You don't have to get it as tight as me. I should have got a size bigger. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free t-shirt. at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free t-shirt. Let me also tell you guys about the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas are giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for your stay. You'll get yourself a limo ride from the airport, a $500 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. And you can always get yourself 15% off with Circa Properties with the promo code SGPN15. You enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football contest by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa, and it's free to enter. It's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa, spelled CIRCA. So let's move on to looking at these individual groups for this Club World Cup as I navigate my way to the right page. By the way, there are a lot of other markets on this that we're not going to cover here, but I will be doing additional shows. I will be posting all of my official plays as well over at lockbetting.com as always. But again, proceed with caution because we don't know how teams are going to be approaching this. It's the first time this competition's ever been played. And the reason this is being played is because they want to fill this gap in the football calendar. It is an opportunity to make more money. We know we have a European Championship every 4 years. We know we have a World Cup every 4 years. So therefore, we only go 2 years. So every 2 years, we have a major competition. Obviously, there's the Copa America. There's the African nations as well. But they want a major competition here to fill the gaps. And this is going to be one that's every 4 years. So now we're only looking at what we're going to do in 2027. And I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something. I came up with my own proposal of the ultimate, all the leagues coming together to form an ultimate team. So the ultimate Premier League team, the ultimate La Liga team, the ultimate Serie A team, the ultimate Brazilian league team. So all the leagues, the top leagues coming together and forming a dream squad of 20 players and a first 11. So if you want to fill that gap, that's a way that you can do it. I'm sure the club managers will be delighted with them not having that summer off either. But there are multiple markets. Name the finalists, reach the final, golden ball winner, straight forecast for the final, reach the quarterfinals, reach the semi-finals, winning continent, winning group, total goals, total own goals, total penalty shootouts, winner and top goal scorer, that's the golden ball winner is not the same as the golden boot winner. So I'm trying to see why we don't have a golden boot winner. But I'm sure if you fish around, both will be available. So plenty of markets, and I'll be posting out plays for these over at lockbetting.com. But we're going to focus here on the groups. And for Group A, Porto are the favourites here at 13-8. And then you have Palmeiras at 2-1. It's Inter Miami at 7-2. And then you have Al Hilal at 10-1. So Porto should be winning this group, but it's quite tight between themselves and Palmeiras. For Porto, they have notoriously been a selling club who have always sold their best players to other European teams. This is not a vintage Porto team. In fact, it's just competed in the club's worst season for over a decade. This is going to be an opportunity for playmaker Rodrigo Mora to put himself in the shop window. He's going to be someone here who is looking to get himself a big club in this window. And that's going to be one to watch here for Porto. As for Palmeiras, they won back-to-back Copa Libertadores, sorry. Oh, that's right, Libertadores titles, then back-to-back Serie A titles, and they've accumulated the best expected goal differential in each of the last 3 seasons in what is South America's toughest league. Right now, the present version of them is not the best or the brightest, but they have a youngster here in Stavio, who's an 18-year-old winger who is set to join Chelsea after this tournament, and he's been looking to announce himself to the world. But we know South American teams. We know that they just continually breed top-class players. And we know that they go into that shop window and end up playing in Europe. So whilst Palmeiras aren't the hottest team in Brazil right now, it's definitely Flamengo. They are certainly going to be a contender here in this group. And I think it's too tight between the two to call, so I would lean towards the underdog. I don't give too much chance to Messi's Inter Miami, although FIFA would obviously like them to go through and almost bent the rules here to make sure that Messi and his team could play in this competition. But I think it's worth taking a stab on Palmeiras here to win this group at the price of 2-1 plus 200. We move on to Group B, where Paris Saint-Germain are the 10-11 favourites ahead of Atletico Madrid are at 7-4. Then it's a big jump down to Botafogo and Seattle Sounders from the MLS, who are at 20-1. PSG or Atletico should win this, and PSG should be able to win this group in second gear, or at least qualify from it in second gear. Atletico Madrid, we know what they're going to do. They faded down the stretch in La Liga, but they are going to be looking for a strong summer tournament here because you get money for doing well in this competition, and they'll be motivated by money. They obviously can't compete with their Madrid rivals, but they are a team who are capable of spending more money than Barcelona, who have financial problems. So this is a chance to inject even more money into the club. Usually this team's known for grit, defensive dogginess, and they often fare well against favourites when they are an underdog. But here they're going to be a heavy favourite against the likes of Seattle Sounders and Botafogo. Atletico Madrid could struggle here because on paper, of the 9 members of the top 2 tiers, I've made my own tiers here, which are not going to make sense to you, so I don't know why I said that. So basically what I'm trying to say is of the non-European teams that Atletico Madrid could have been grouped against, Seattle Sounders and Botafogo are among the tougher opponents. So this isn't going to be a walk in the park. And previously in other seasons, Atletico Madrid have shown that they found it difficult to beat minnows and beat them the way that they should do because they've found it difficult to play front foot football. Now, I think this is something that they've done a good job in addressing. Diego Simeone's evolved as a manager. He hasn't been as grimy and as gritty and as ugly, really, as he's been previously. And Atletico Madrid, particularly this season, have played a better brand of football. So I don't think this version of Atletico should be as worried about Seattle Sounders or Botafogo. But as I said, be wary of motivational factors when it comes to this tournament. As for Paris Saint-Germain, they're coming off the memorable night in Munich where they left absolutely no doubt that they were the best team in the world and therefore should, on paper, go on to win this competition. They have a fluid front line that we've already spoken about. They have ingenuity and skill. The midfield is balanced and dynamic and hard-working. They never stop running, and that will be key to them doing well again in this competition. We know the defensive's solid. We know the coach is reliable, ruthless, savvy, intelligent. He knows exactly what he wants from their players. But do they have the physicality and the mentality to carry on after what was a euphoric Champions League win? And that's the only question mark I have over Paris Saint-Germain. Because if they come here to play, even if Real Madrid want it and need it more, Paris Saint-Germain will be the team who end up lifting this trophy. Up next, we look at Group C, where Bayern Munich are the front runners. They are priced up at 4-7. You have Benfica at 4-1, Boca Juniors at 11-2, and Auckland City at 200-1. I can't make any case for anybody other than Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich would have been unhappy about the way they were knocked out of the Champions League against Inter Milan. They were in control of that tie at one point. And I think by their standards, they'll be hungry to rebound off the back of what was an unremarkable season. Even though they got their German league title back, they expected to win the German league. It was a huge embarrassment that they lost the league the season before against Bayer Leverkusen. But Bayer Leverkusen were remarkable that season, put up an incredible points tally, didn't lose a single game. It was a invincible season from Xabi Alonso's men. But by modern day standards, this Bayern Munich team isn't as good as others before, but they're definitely a team who should be in the mix for multiple trophies. They're head and shoulders the best team in Germany. And there isn't really too much separating them here on paper from the other top teams. You can't look at the lineups, particularly 11s, and say that either Paris Saint-Germain or Real Madrid are considerably better than Bayern Munich. And for me personally, I'd have had Bayern Munich higher than Man City in the market. So I think they'll get this done. For me, they are a very, very solid parlay piece to win their group at that price. And we move on to Group D, and I think I can say the same for Chelsea, who are an even better price here at 3-5. It's 11-4 on Flamengo, it's 7-1 on Los Angeles FC. And then we have Esperance de Tunis at 40-1. And hopefully I won't have to say that again. And I don't need to, because this is going to be between Chelsea and Flamengo. And I do believe that Chelsea are going to be taking this competition very, very seriously. Now, Chelsea is definitely a team who's built around Cole Palmer. But in 2025, Cole Palmer went cold, and Chelsea's results suddenly went cold as well. So they managed to endure and overcome that. They managed to finish in the top four, and they managed to win Europa Conference League. And I think that's going to be massive to Chelsea and something to build on. Well, they don't have to wait to the Premier League to build. They can build here. They are now a more balanced team off the back of being able to overcome Cole Palmer's dip in form. And I don't doubt that they're going to be World Club Cup contenders, because their owners are going to be massively motivated to do well here in this competition. The main threat comes from Flamengo. They're the hottest team in Brazil, and they play traditional South American football. When you look at the players that you might recognise from European leagues, they have Alexandro, they have Danilo, plus the manager, Felipe Luis. He was the long-time left-back at Atletico Madrid. I believe that they can definitely challenge here in the group and should be good enough to qualify ahead of LAFC. And these are definitely the three best teams in the group. But I think Chelsea win the group. I don't just want to continue taking favourites, but it's very difficult to go against the European teams here, and particularly a Chelsea team who I think will be heavily motivated to have a run here in this competition. Up next, we are looking at Group E, which is led by Inter Milan, who are priced up here at 4-7. You have River Plate at 5-2. You have Red Diamonds at 20-1, and then you have Monterrey of Mexico at 22-1. Inter should be winning this group very, very comfortably, but how much of a hangover are they going to have from what happened to them in the Champions League? They also do not have their manager. Simone Inzaghi is off to Saudi Arabia, and the old legs in the team aren't getting any younger. Have they had enough time to rest and recharge ahead of this Club World Cup? I'm not sure, which is why this is probably going to be a group that I lead, because there is a chance that River Plate could win it. But the one thing I'll say about River Plate is that this isn't the same River Plate that you know from years gone by. They certainly are labouring lately. Aside from a 17-year-old sensation, the rest of the squad is considerably over the hill. They do have a combination of age, youngsters and experience, but not many of them have actually appeared for the Argentinian national team. So if Argentina are not picking from River Plate, that kind of says a lot about where River Plate are at. So for me, that would be a concern. I think this is a very, very weak group. And even though Inter Milan are an aged team who just got found out in the Champions League final, I still think they'll be able to come out on top and win this group. Before we move on to our three remaining groups, let me just take this pause to tell you guys about Rhythm. Now, you've heard us talking about Rhythm before, and they've just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. So if you want to get involved, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. These power trends are updated daily. They're exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean, data-backed bets. And you can download the Rhythm app and check out Power Trends by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm to get your 7-day free trial at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM Rhythm. And finally, let me utilize this pause to tell you guys about my Bookie.ag. We're brought to you by my Bookie.ag, and that's your place to bet on every sport, including this Club World Cup, including the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup as well, and WWE. We just dropped a podcast for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It was a fight show over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and people have asked me for years, where do you bet on the WWE? Well, the answer is my Bookie.ag, and you can head to my Bookie.ag now. use the promo code SGPN and you get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. So head over to mybookie.ag and use the promo code SGPN. That's mybookie.ag and the promo code SGPN. So let's move on to your three remaining groups. Let's have a look at Group F. And this is led by Borussia Dortmund, where they are the 4-7 favourites now to win the group. You have Fluminense at 13-5. You have Ulsan at 14-1, and you have Sundowns FC at 25-1. I think Dortmund are going to come here massively motivated. I think they're going to want to build off how they finished the season and got themselves in the Champions League. And I think they're going to rip roar through this group. Not only do I think they're going to win this group, I think they're going to be able to beat whoever the runner-up is in the other group that they're paired against, and they're going to end up in the quarterfinal. And I think Borussia Dortmund to reach the quarterfinals at 13-8. So that's bigger than plus 160, is an absolutely massive bet on Borussia Dortmund. Now, granted, this was a team who were a mess for most of the 24-25 season. They were mired in the bottom half of the Bundesliga from January through to March, and they were completely unstable with no head coach going there and lasting more than 29 months since Jurgen Klopp departed in 2015. But Niko Kovac was hired at the beginning of February, and he's the one who has engineered the turnaround, and he carries that into this competition where Dortmund were one of the hottest teams in the final 2 months of the season. This was a Dortmund team who scored 26 goals in 8 games, and they also played Bayern Munich and Leverkusen during that run. So Fluminense, Sundowns, Ulsan, beware. Borussia Dortmund are going to be gunning for this competition, and they are going to be a threat. And for me, they're going to breeze through this group. I know it's not Real Madrid or Paris Saint-Germain, but I really have a strong feeling for Dortmund to be the team who come through their group most convincingly. And I think they're going to take this competition super serious. And I look for them to win this group and to go one step further. And that really improves your price from 4-7 to suddenly getting 13-8. I believe that's plus 162 on Borussia Dortmund to reach the quarterfinals of this competition. Up next, we go to Group G, where Man City are the 49 favourites, is 21-10 on Juve. And your two other teams here are massive outsiders. You have Al Ain at 25-1, and then you have Casablanca at 66-1. This is straight shootout between City and Juve, and Juve, despite finishing the top 4, were not a team who were particularly great to watch this season. They did only lose 4 games, but they lost 16. They were very defensive from the start to finish in leagues and cups under Motta, and then under Tudor as well. They just looked mediocre. They just looked like they lacked creativity. And they're not a true contender in my eyes for this competition. If Man City are going to do anything here, they should breeze through this group with 3 wins. Man City's fall, the fall of the Man City empire was very entertaining to watch. But over the Premier League's final 12 weeks, Pep Guardiola's Man City would have actually won the mini-league. I mean, there's still plenty of problems. I can see defensive frailties. Low blocks for Man City have been far more difficult to penetrate than they have been in previous years. But they still should be more than good enough to at least have a run in this competition to the quarterfinals. And I do look for them to win this group. But I'm opposing Man City as the winner. I like the look of PSG, Real Madrid, and even Bayern Munich far more than I like Manchester City here for this competition overall. But I do think Man City will go on to win this group. And we close out with Group H, where Real Madrid are the 1-5 favourites. They are paired up with Al Hilal, Salzburg, and CF Pachua. Cannot make a case for anybody competing with Real Madrid. They have just endured a frustrating season, and for me, they will be the most motivated team to win this competition. I think they or Paris Saint-Germain will be the ones who go on to win it. So I think the market's got it right. We saw a lot of holes in the Real Madrid armory. This is something they're going to need to repair. They've now got a new manager to do it. Xabi Alonso takes over things here at this World Cup, and he is going to be looking to make a winning start. Make no mistake about it. They've signed and added Dean Huijsen and Trent Alexander-Arnold to their squad, which is going to make them stronger. And for me, Real Madrid absolutely breeze through this group. And they, along with Paris Saint-Germain, are the two teams to beat. So we're going to close out with the lock on the show. First of all, when it comes down to predicting a winner, I think the market's got it right. I think Paris Saint-Germain will be the team who do win it if they are motivated. But if in any way they are carrying any kind of hangover and they don't bring the same intensity or the same effort to this competition, then I believe it will end up going to Real Madrid. And that's simply it. I cannot see past these two selections. And given the fact they're both available at 4-1 and 5-1, you can probably make decent money backing them both. But that's not my lock for this show. My lock for this show is going to be to take a Borussia Dortmund team to reach the quarterfinals of the competition at the price of 13-8, which I believe is plus 162. I know we didn't cover the market, but these are the type of plays I will be posting over at lockbetting.com as I go through this competition with a fine-tooth comb. I just think Borussia Dortmund will be massively motivated. This competition pays out mega money. And I think in the future, once teams realise that this is worth paying, even though it was seen initially as a major inconvenience, the prize money certainly is something that the clubs and especially the club owners will be interested in. And they'll be telling their teams, because they, at the end of the day, run the clubs, to make an effort for this competition, especially if you're a team that needs money like a Borussia Dortmund. They need money to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are going to continue to buy players and strengthen, and Borussia Dortmund this time round won't want to leave it until the final day of the season to qualify for the Champions League. They're going to want to have a much better season. They're going to want to add players, and they're going to want to continue this momentum from the back end of the season where they were one of the hottest teams, a team that scored 26 in 8 games, and they should be able to comfortably win a group with Fluminense, Sundowns and Ulsan, and then go on to win whoever they play in the round of 16. So once again, your lock here on this show is to take Borussia Dortmund to reach the quarterfinals at 13-8 plus 162. And I can't split between my picks to win it. I'm going to have to watch. And you probably think that I'm just being very, very conservative and anybody could just sit here and pick Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. And that's probably true. But why am I going to pick somebody else? Real Madrid have had a wretched season. For a team who didn't want this competition, suddenly they need it and they need to win it. The problem is Paris Saint-Germain are playing a brand of football that's absolutely unstoppable. And if they play it here and they have the same motivation to run and chase back, and the fullbacks are up and down and the wingers are working hard to support the midfield, and the midfield are up and down and they're doing everything they did in the Champions League, then they're going to be pretty hard to stop. But until I see it, I cannot make the distinction between the two. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.